안녕하세요. 저는 LA 카운티 IHSS 간병인이고요. SEIU 2015 회원인 김숙입니다. 오늘 여기에 간병 업무에 대한 토론을 해주신 모든 분들께 진심으로 감사드립니다. 저는 SEIU 2015 동료 회원들에게 직접적인 영향을 미치는 것은 분명하지만 이 방에 있는 모든 사람들과 사랑하는 사람들에게도 영향을 미친다고 믿습니다. 먼저 미겔 산티아고 하원 의원을 소개합니다. 미겔 산티아고 하원 의원은 캘리포니아에서 가장 다양한 지역 중 하나를 대표하며 경력 전방에 걸쳐 간병인과 건강 형평성에 대한 지칠 줄 모르는 옹호자입니다. 산티아고 하원 의원을 소개합니다. 큰 박수로 맞이해 주세요.
Hello, my name is Suki, a local 2015 member.
영어로 지금 통역을
Hello, my name is Sue Kim, a local 2015 member and IHS's caregiver in Los Angeles County. I'd like to thank everyone for being here today for a discussion around care work. It's obviously something that impacts me and my fellow 2015 members directly, but it impacts everyone else in this room and their loved ones too. To start things off, I'd like to introduce Assembly Member Miguel Santiago. Assemblyman Santiago represents one of the most diverse districts in California and has been tireless advocate for care workers and health equity throughout his career. Welcome, Assemblyman Santiago.
Bienvenidos al Distrito 53 and welcome to the 53rd District here in the heart of Los Angeles. And a big round of applause for all you people. We are extremely grateful to have U.S. Senator Padilla here talk about the American Jobs Act right here in our hometown, where he's going to deliver the good news and the message and the hard work that he's been doing. And we're extremely proud of him. And so we applaud his efforts and his hard work for our communities all across the country that he's doing. And it's important too today because we also remember the 71st anniversary of the Korean War that has had a huge impact in our communities that now we still acknowledge. We want to acknowledge General Consul, who is here, and also CAFLA President James On from our very own community. Others will be acknowledged, but we also want to tell you about the site, CARE, because during the pandemic, they really did step up and work to help people, not just with the services, but food assistance. They fought for COVID testing, for the vaccines in our community, and it made our community stronger because our seniors were able to pull through because of CARE. And every organization has a leader, and the CEO of CARE really did step up, not just for the seniors in this facility, but for the entire community. And that leader is Aaron Pack, who I introduced today. A big round of applause for Aaron Pack.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I cannot tell you how happy I am to see all of you. Welcome to our brand new Adult Day Healthcare Center. This is an example of how federal dollars are spent. So thank you for being here. We are a federally qualified health center, and we provide free or low cost medical, dental, vision, mental health and adult day healthcare services to low-income residents and non-citizens in our neighborhoods. Thank you. As the assembly member said, during the pandemic, we delivered actually 32,000 hot meals to homebound seniors. And we continue to do that until they're able to return to the centers or go about their business. So it's a very important service that we're providing. I also want to recognize that in the beginning of the pandemic, we didn't have enough vaccines. We were begging for vaccines. We were lucky enough, it was a good week if we were able to vaccinate 200 folks. As soon as the president came into the office, we were vaccinating 1,400 people in one day, 6-hour period. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank President Biden, our Senator Padilla, and Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra, who is Los Angeles, or who was Los Angeles Congress member. So we're very, very fortunate to have these folks in our office in Washington, D.C., taking care of all of us. We're so pleased to be part of this conversation today. Workforce is a very important aspect of the economic recovery. We're seeing the end, we're seeing positivity in the recovery of America. So the conversation that we're going to have and the information and the good news that we're going to hear from Senator Alex Padilla will be critical. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to a tireless leader representing Service Employees International Union 2015, Miss April Verrett. I have to tell you a little bit more about her. She represents 400,000 home care and nursing home workers. She knows what's important to all of us, not just the members of the union, but all of us in the community, because we have to take care of our family members, we have to take care of our schools and our neighborhoods. So I'm so happy to introduce you. It's my honor to introduce you to Miss April Verrett.
This is the first time I've had on anything close to a heel in about 18 months. So, uh-oh. You take this.
You got that?
All right. Look how that works.
Oh, I'm live.
Good morning. Now, I know the members of 2015 know this. I love attention. I said good morning. It is so amazing to be here in this room with so many of you all. I have to start off by thanking Sue Kim. Where did she go? Thank you, Sue Kim. And I know he had to run, but thank you. I just call him Miguel. Thank you, Miguel, for being here, for representing this district so wonderfully. Both Sue Kim and Miguel have been amazing fighters for our movement for a very, very long time, and I'm thankful for their leadership. I also want to thank Erin Pack, for having us here in their beautiful home and the care clinic. Right? She said, this is what happens with public dollars when they are put to good use. We have talked so much about not going back to the status quo over the last 18 months, and I have a whole lot of ideas about that. But one idea that I have is that we have to make sure our precious public resources go to strengthening our communities. They don't need to go back to the pockets of the rich who don't want to share their wealth. They need to go back to our communities to help people thrive in real ways. I could go down that tangent, so I'm going to try to loop myself back, because what we want to talk about today is care work. And we want to talk about how do we make sure that we become a society that centers care. That not only centers caregivers, like the 400,000 amazing people that I get to represent every single day, most of them women of color, most of them immigrants who have made the choice that they want to live a life, to have a career that is centered on giving back, on making sure seniors and people with disabilities can live in dignity with love, right? They can live in dignity and feel loved and cared for every single day. And we have talked a lot over the last 18 months about essential workers, right? Workers like I represent, workers like David Werta represent, workers like David Green represents, workers like those at Unite Here who work at Chateau, Vermont. Right, we've talked a lot over the last year about the sacrifices of those workers. Let's not just talk about them. Let's center those workers. Let's solve for the real crisis in those workers' lives. Let's make this country one that doesn't just pay lip service, but actually pays people, right? Gives them a life where they can thrive and not just survive. And it's hot in here. Or maybe I'm just fired up. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to do this over the last year. But we are also in a moment, right, where our country is making a choice about infrastructure, right? And there is a $400 billion proposal on the table to invest in care. And I want to thank President Biden and others for stepping up to the plate and centering care and centering workers. This is the first time there has ever been a jobs plan that centers women, that says if we invest in women, we invest in our communities. And guess what? They are women of color and they are immigrants. Now is our time, you all. As a Black woman, now is my time. I know my power. I know my worth. I know the power of my members. I know your worth, and every damn body else is gonna know it too. And everybody else is going to know it too. And so this isn't just a proposal anymore, because just yesterday, the Better Care, Better Jobs Act was introduced by Senator Casey. We have an act that is putting the $400 billion proposal and to make it law. And we're going to make sure we not just pass the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure bill that was introduced, but we're not going to do that, which we have to do, right? We just saw a damn building collapse in Miami. We have to fix the infrastructure in this country, but we also got to fix the care economy in this country. They go hand in hand. And together, our movement will remain united until we create 1 million new home care jobs in this country. So you all know I can go on and on and on about this, but I want to bring up to the stage our very special guest, who is a co-sponsor of the Better Care, Better Jobs Act. It is our very own Senator Alex Padilla. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, let's sit down, because again, I'm wearing heels. So, Senator, I can go on and on, but I really just want to have a conversation with you.
Sounds
And
good to
thank
me.
you
Want to make
so
sure my
much.
mic is working. We're good? All right.
Thank you so much for the sponsorship. You all, he won't tell this story, but ever since way before Alex went to Washington, D.C. to represent us in the United States Senate, that deserves another hand clap. The first Latino, right, to represent any state in the United States Senate. We are proud of that. I can still text him and he still responds.
Yeah.
And that is important to me. That is important to the members of Local 2015. And when I got my marching orders that we had a bill and we needed a co-sponsor, I texted him and he texted back and he said yes with an exclamation point. So thank you.
Of course.
But let's talk about the moment that we're in. And you know me, I just say what I think. Why the hell are Republicans so opposed to investing in care?
I mean, we wish we knew. right? I mean, just this should be a no-brainer. It's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about our families, and it's about our economy, right? So it's like a lot of other issues. Immigration is the first one that comes to mind. Where, well, the right thing to do, justice for immigrant families, is to advance comprehensive immigration reform. That, for some Republicans, they don't care about that. But if we make an economic argument, well, they're more willing to listen. And I think that's a little bit of what we're finding here when it comes to investing in the care economy. Number one, it's the right thing to do if you're supposedly for family values. But if that doesn't get you, then let's at least understand what it means for the economy. And I want to thank everybody who's working in care, whether it's adult care, senior care, child care, every care in between. You've been essential since long before the pandemic. I just want to say that. But especially because of COVID, now there's been this formal recognition of you're essential workers. You're essential during the pandemic, and especially as we're trying to recover from the pandemic. And I think my family is a little bit of an example. If we're going to start thinking about how people can go back to work because the economy is reopening, it is very real to say, well, can I or can't I? Who's going to watch our kids? Because maybe some schools are open, maybe some aren't. Well, now kids are on summer vacation. So where am I going to leave my kids? Who's going to watch my kids if I'm going to even think about being able to go back to work? So for all of our Republican friends who keep thinking the economy, the economy, the economy, or why some people aren't coming back to work, it's not because the unemployment benefits are too good. It is not that. It's a big reason is who's going to care for our kids, maybe our parents, right, or our seniors, or other folks in between. I'll take that hand clap. So we do that by sharing stories. And I don't know if I'm proud of it. It just kind of is what it is. There's not too many senators in the United States Senate with kids that are 14, 8, or 6 years old, like mine are. So sometimes that personal experience that is either being shared and is at the table in the Senate, or it's not. So happy to be doing my part, and we'll keep twisting arms because you have my commitment that we're going to get this done.
We are absolutely going to get this done. And I just want to touch on it. We all have a care story, right? I know not only do I hear the stories of our members, right, and how they care for their loved ones, their neighbors, people that they don't know, but I also know my own story, right? I know what it was like to take care of my grandmother who raised me when she could no longer take care of herself. And I know you have your own care stories, right? We've talked about this. I don't know if you want to share.
Sure. Well, I have two stories, if you don't mind. One is, going back, next year is going to be my 10th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. When Angela got married and we started our family, remember after Alex was born, our middle boy, she took the maternity leave after he was born. I took some time off. And then at some point she took the unpaid extra few weeks, and then it was time to go back to work. And it was hard because he was our second, and Andrew had a little bit of a commute. We had this thing called traffic in LA when it's normal time. And for a couple of months, it was like getting up extra early. We got to pack the clothes, we got to pack the bottles, we got to pack the food, and we got to figure out who's going to drop off first. And our older boy was already in school, so it's preschool care, then school, then after school care. There was child care for the baby. And we just started looking at how much it was costing versus how much she was making. And then add to that the time and the stress, and we're like, it doesn't make any sense. We tightened the belt a little bit, and it made more sense financially for her to stay home and care for the kid. That's how much it costs in a lot of places. So it's got to be more affordable and available along with the quality for all families, right? So that's, again, experience and perspective we bring to the table. But here's the other piece, and I think this is what April was referring to. So my wife, from my very first date, started sharing stories of what it was like for her growing up. She is daughter of a single mother who has been diagnosed with bipolar 1 with schizoaffective disorder. She's got a severe mental health condition. And so I've heard stories and stories of her growing up as daughter, caretaker, and advocate for her mom, who now lives with us and is doing great because she has someone to take care of her, right? And make sure that she gets you to her doctor's appointments. She's taking her medication. She's doing all the things that she needs to do to, kind of stay physically stable and thriving. And her mother can help cook a little bit, can help clean a little bit, can, live a good life with her grandkids because she's got care. And everybody deserves that dignity.
That's right. It's so, so important. There are over 700,000 people in California who are able to get care through our IHSS program here in California. But we know there are millions of others who need the care. And when we pass the Build Back Better, the Better Jobs, Better Care Act, or whatever it's called, Better Care, Better Jobs, it's new. So what you gonna do, kill me? We know what I'm talking about. When we make that law, right, we will expand access to care to the millions of Californians who need it. And we'll also create good jobs for the caregivers that I am proud to say are in Local 2015, as well as UDW. And I see some green t-shirts in the room, as well as with our partners in NDWA, the National Domestic Workers, as well as Caring Across Generations. I know folks are here, so I want to shout them out. So let's talk about a little bit, if we can, Senator, how we get this done. So I mentioned yesterday, the Better Care, Better Jobs Act was introduced. Also introduced yesterday was a deal on physical infrastructure that was reached. There was a bipartisan compromise with the White House. So can you just talk a little bit about the path to passing both physical infrastructure as well as care infrastructure?
Sure. Very important question. Things are starting to happen. We've been talking for months and months and months, and now things are starting to happen. Heard this debate about infrastructure. How are we going to repair some of our transportation infrastructure, bridges and highways and tunnels and things like that? When President Biden, in his first big speech to Congress, said, we got to think big. We do have to invest in infrastructure. But it's not just transportation, as important as that is. We should be talking our water systems, the electrical grid, and broadband deployment. But that's like the physical infrastructure. We also need to look at human infrastructure. That's why there's two bills. There's the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan. What kind of human infrastructure do we need to invest in to really help propel our economy? It includes healthcare. It includes education. It includes childcare. It includes so much more because the care economy is so much bigger than that. And so we've been having these negotiations, these discussions, these debates, not to be too partisan, just being factual. A lot of Republicans say, no, no, no. Infrastructure has always been very, very bipartisan, but only transportation, right? Maybe broadband, because during the pandemic, anybody with kids knows that how important an internet connection is for homeschooling, right? For example. But they haven't been willing to really embrace this bigger, broader vision. And so the big question was, well, do we wait to try to convince Republicans to think bigger and more broadly, or do we go it alone? Because we have this process known as reconciliation in the Senate, where we can do it with 50+1 votes instead of having to get 60 votes that's required by the filibuster. And so yesterday, it was announced that there's a bipartisan group of senators that have an agreement, and the president supports it. And so that was announced. And it was very important for a lot of us to say, well, that's good. We'll take that, but that's not enough. We're going to need more, because what they're focusing on is the transportation, the broadband, a couple of other things. We got to make sure that the care economy, the education piece, all that other stuff doesn't get left behind. And so what I predict is there's going to be two bills that start moving in the month of July. The bipartisan bill, and if it has overwhelming bipartisan support, great, but not without the follow-up companion bill through what we call reconciliation that does this bigger vision, creates the all the elements of the American Families Plan so that they both get to the president's desk, they both get signed into law, and that's going to really help every community and every family in America.
That's right. And here in Los Angeles, as well as in Oakland and in 38 other cities across the country, on July 13th, it is our National Day of Action, where we're going to be here in the streets and we're going to be talking about the need to make infrastructure happen, to make care happen. And I want to have home care workers standing on the besides janitors, standing beside hotel workers, standing beside Teamsters and carpenters and steel workers, because we're going to show we are one community, we are one labor movement, and we do not leave each other behind. Am I right? Am I right, Ron Herrera? We are going to show up and we're going to show out on July 13th. So let's take a couple of questions from the audience. I think you all are going to line up at the mic over here, because this is not just about me and Alex, so we can do this all day.
Good morning. My name is Bonnie Coleman. I'm here representing California Alliance for Retired Americans. We are almost 1 million strong of retired union activists. So 2 quick things. Senator Padilla, I do not envy you your job. But I also want to mention, see this white hair? Please, don't let us continually have to fight for things that have been fought for and won over and over again. I'm specifically thinking about the voting rights and what is happening in this country. It is so important that every person who can vote does vote. So I thank you for all of your efforts around that. The other thing that in CARA we think is so important is in California, we're struggling for single payer healthcare, and that involves everyone. We all need to have healthcare. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your activism, I should say, and I couldn't agree more. Healthcare is a human right, not just a privilege for the people who can afford it. And on voting rights, couldn't agree more. That too is a fundamental right. And I'll remind you that for the prior 6 years, before I joined the Senate, I served as California Secretary of State. So all the great reforms we've implemented in California, with the help of Miguel Santiago, the rest of the legislature, and the governor and others, more opportunities to register, to stay registered to vote, to cast your ballot. These are the reforms we're trying to bring to the rest of the country. And if we have to blow up the filibuster to get it done, then let's get that done.
So before you go, Ms. Rachel, I swung my eyes this way and I see my brother Coronado here from Local 99. And I just want to also acknowledge that the child care providers in the state of California are at the bargaining table for their first ever contract. And we talked today about how important child care is also to our care infrastructure. And so we all got to stand up and support our child care workers in their valiant fight. Thank you for being here, Coronado. Ms. Rachel.
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Lewis. I am a proud essential home care worker. In California, the minimum wage will be $15 next year. However, we as home care workers do our very best, considering being part of this pandemic. Every day I leave my house along with other essential long-term healthcare workers. We face death, and that's a true fact. But because of our care and our love for what we do, we continue to provide food, the essential needs, because we take care of seniors. We take care of mental challenging children. We take care of the disabled. And that's a lot to do. But we are fighters. I come from a line of union representation. I thank you for what you said earlier in regard to home care and how your wife and you took care of your situation. But now the federal government or the federal funds for the American Job Plan will help essential home care workers get to $20 an hour. So my question to you, do you believe that home care essential workers deserve $20 an hour? My second question, do you or will you support essential home care workers in the fight to $20 an hour? Thank you.
I'll answer the second one first. Will I support you in the fight? Absolutely. Absolutely. I just need a purple t-shirt for when I go get my speeches.
Trying to get this man a t-shirt.
The first question, do I support long-term caregivers? Do I believe long-term caregivers deserve $20 an hour? I believe they deserve more than that. Have you seen the price of meat lately? Prices keep going up and up and up, and so wages need to keep going up and up and up. So yes, count on me in this fight.
So I forgot to mention earlier that we are live streaming this, and I believe we are reaching up to 20,000 folks that are not able to join us in this room who are participating in this conversation today. And there's a question from that live stream that I want to pose to the senator. I recognize, and this is from Camille Christian, who is a local 2015 member in the Bay Area. I recognize that Congress is divided by political lines, and the filibuster can be an obstacle to moving our country forward and investing in the care for our seniors. Senator, what do you say about filibuster reform to get the hell out of our way, to make things like immigration reform and voting rights and environmental reforms possible in a divided political climate?
So as I said a few minutes ago, look, I'm for eliminating the filibuster. We know it's been used to obstruct. It's been used to obstruct for far too long on voting rights, on climate change, on immigration reform, on policing reform, on so many critical issues. And for people who think, well, no, just do it bipartisan. I'd like to, but as much as Democrats would like to work on a bipartisan basis, it doesn't seem like Republicans are interested in that very much. To think that the American Rescue Plan, right, what was adopted back in February, money for vaccines, money for state and local governments, money for struggling families and small businesses, the expansion of the child tax credit, and those sorts of things had to be done only on a partisan basis, told us everything that we need to know. Right, we talked about voting rights a minute ago. To think that there was a proposal to set up an independent bipartisan commission to get to the root cause of what led to the deadly insurrection of January 6th. How Republicans blocked that because of the filibuster tells you all you need to know about how committed, how genuine the other side is on working on a bipartisan basis. So look, we'll keep trying, but we can't afford to wait. You know, when I came into the Senate, sworn in January 20th this year, this same day as President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, and I don't apologize for this, I came in with a sense of urgency. I'm from Pacoima, California. Pacoima was referred to as the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic. I came in telling my colleagues, we got to act big, we got to act fast. People are dying. And thankfully, right, numbers are a lot better now. Cases are down, vaccines are up. That's the kind of impact government can make when the political will is there. But we've got to act with that same urgency for our caregivers. We've got to act with that same urgency for our planet. We've got to act with that same urgency for all the issues that we just talked about: voting rights, climate, immigration, and more.
Yeah, not just political will, but leadership, right? It makes a huge, huge difference. Is there another question, please? And I also, while the gentleman is coming to the mic, I think it is a sin and a damn shame that Republicans are going to go home during August recess and take credit for the recovery, right? They're going to take credit for the American Rescue Plan. And shame on us if we let that happen.
I see you. Thank you so much. I'm not so good at English, so I'm name is Ambrose Kim. My age is 98. So I'm Korean war hero. Yes. So I'm not so good at English, so I'm reading Korean language. Okay. 저와 같은 지역 사회의 노인들은 대유행 동안 정말 심한 타격을 받았습니다. 예, 새로운 교량과 도로가 필요하지만 그 이상에 대한 투자도 필요합니다. 3. 인프라에 대한 투자가 이웃 사람들에게도 도움이 되는지 어떻게 확인합니까? That's it.
Senior citizens and communities like mine were hit really hard during the pandemic. Yes, we need new bridges and roads, but we also need investments and more than that. How do you make sure that investments in infrastructure also help the people in my neighborhood?
Thank you. Well, I think the way we ensure that is, number one, making sure that we're thinking big, not thinking small. And as I've been saying a lot in Washington, when President Biden says we have to build back better, that has to also mean that we're building back more equitably. And we're mindful that the resources, that the projects that we're funding, the people that we're helping get good jobs are in all communities. Because in the past, that hasn't always been the case. There's been times in the past where big money goes into a big project, but a lot of people, a lot of communities are left out. Not only left out of those opportunities, but are hurt by those opportunities. And so when we make sure that we're inclusive and equitable in those opportunities, that's when we all benefit.
Blanca.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Blanca Carías, soy trabajadora de cuidado en casa por más de 29 años. Yo sé que nuestro Alex Padilla siempre ha estado con nosotros y queremos seguir siendo ese gran campeón. Mi pregunta es la siguiente: ¿cuál es el mayor obstáculo para aprobar el plan de empleo estadounidense y qué podemos hacer para ayudarlos a aprobar el plan de empleo también de los estadounidenses que incluyan disposiciones para apoyar a todos los trabajadores de cuidado en casa?
Who's going to
Good
translate,
morning.
you or me?
Good morning. My name is Blanca Carías. I'm a home care provider for more than 28 years. And I know that our Alex Padilla has been always in our side. And I hope we can continue having you in our side. My question is, what is the biggest obstacle to passing a federal plan that invests in care? And what can we do to help you to pass a plan with provision to support home care workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Brevemente en español les voy a responder, aunque sé que hay traducción y luego después en inglés. Lo bueno es que las reglas del Senado permiten que este plan de empleos para el país se puede aprobar con 51 votos. No ocupamos los 60 completos y la participación de los republicanos. Así es que tengo muchas esperanzas que lo vamos a lograr cuando regresemos en julio o en agosto, pero en muy poco tiempo se va a aprobar y cuenten con mi apoyo como siempre. So you heard the translation of the question, what's the biggest obstacle? We've talked about it a few times already. The biggest obstacle to a lot of what we need to get done is this filibuster rule in the Senate. So we're working to eliminate it, and we're working to change the makeup of the Senate in 2022. In the meantime, good news is we've gotten the approval from the Senate parliamentarian. Rules allow a lot of this package to be done with 50 plus 1 votes. We don't need to overcome the 60 vote filibuster. So if we have all Democrats united, plus the vote of the vice president to break a tie, we can get this done. And I'm telling you, we will get this done.
Thank you. Thank you. I know, Senator, you have a very tight schedule. You've given us so much of your time, and we really appreciate it. I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ingracia Figueroa. In 1992, at the age of 92, I became disabled with a spinal cord injury and left leg amputation on my way to work. I went from being an independent, young, vibrant woman to dependent upon caregivers and a system that forces me to remain impoverished in order to have the caregivers for my personal and daily needs for the rest of my life. I've had many caregivers throughout my life, and I'm currently looking for more right now. And I am now 51 years old, and I'm soon to be 30 years disabled in the next few weeks, July 15th to be exact. And while I've been able to live a wonderful life, literally from surfing, archery, which led me to yoga, including acting here in LA, and I'm currently a board president at CalLife, the ILC here in downtown LA. And what worries me is I'm terrified of aging in this system without a family who can care for me. And I don't want to expire in a facility just because home care attendants are not able to sustain themselves in this work due to low pay and a lack of respect. There needs to be a security net for them and for me as well. My question to you, Senator, is what will you do to ensure that this $400 billion plan will guarantee and include the package for people with support for disabilities, adult with disabilities like me, in order to remain independent in our homes and to be vibrant and productive within our communities? And just to let you know, I am so proud of you. I am a Creole Rican from East Oakland who lives in Van Nuys. So I am so proud.
All right, thank you. Look, appreciate you sharing your story. And again, count on my support. What can we do? We can get this done and lay the foundation. You know, you're right. When we talk about the care economy, when we talk about caregivers, it's both individuals like yourself that deserve the dignity to be able to have a thriving, great quality of life. And, you know, some people like my mother-in-law, she's fortunate that our family is willing to rally around her. You know, some people don't have that luxury or that option. And so providing that infrastructure of a caregiver network is great for you. And when we do this right, it's a great opportunity, not just great employment, but great experience for the caregivers themselves who come from families that they're trying to support and to provide for. And it's just the right thing to do from a dignity standpoint. Again, For any of my colleagues that are worried more about economics, yes, this is actually more effective than institutionalizing, than people ending up in tougher situations. All around, it's a win, win, win. And I'm so grateful for being able to serve in the Senate right now with a president who gets it, who has proposed it, who has pledged his support for it. We just got to get these bills on his desk for him to sign, and so we can all get to work.
That's right. Let's time to get to work. And to that note, I'm a good organizer, if I'm not anything. And good organizers never let a crowd get away without your marching orders, right? Without your assignment. And so next step, July 13th, don't meet me there, beat me there. I believe we're going to be at LA Trade Tech, and somebody will tell me if I'm wrong. So July 13th, and then get ready for a kick-ass, yeah, I said it, kick-ass August recess, where we will together send a message that we are one united movement of caregivers, of seniors, of organizers, of tradesmen and tradeswomen, right? A diverse coalition of people who are standing up for infrastructure, physical infrastructure and care infrastructure. We're going to get it done. And in many, many ways, California leads the way, and we will continue to do so. Thank you so much, Senator
Thank you,
Padilla.
April. Thank you, everybody.
As I look for my marching orders, I did good? Okay, yay. Don't let me do it again, maybe. All right, thank you all.